All right, so let's get things started this morning as we take a look at our national dailies. Chairman, Guild of Public Affairs Analyst, Enugu State Chapter, Dr. Ambrose Igboke joins us live now from the coal city. Dr. Ambrose, good to see you. You were in Lagos last week.
Good morning, Kelly. I came around and I didn't see you, and it's good to see you again.
Yes, I wasn't on the show. Whenever I'm on the show, I don't have any business in this premises in the morning.
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning. So let's a number of papers here for us to start with, but I'd like us to start with the New Telegraph. It says, Minority Caucus Insecurity, Judicial Chaos Threatening 2027 Polls. Minority Caucus Insecurity, Judicial Chaos Threatening 2027 Polls accuses Tinubu's government of chasing election over governance, demands 72-hour rescue for Oyo abductees. It says APC afraid of election, wants coronation. That's credited to Uche Secondus. Dr. Igboke, today is day 30 since the Oyo students kidnap. 30 days. Those students and teachers have been in captivity 30 days. The Oyo State government claims it knows where these students are. For me, that's my interest. Before the 2027 polls, my interest is the fact that for 30 days in Oyo State, these people are still in captivity. What exactly are we dealing with here?
When I think about the situation of people in captivity, of stories that were told by those who were captured and released, about the stories of trauma, stories of starvation, stories of sodomization, rape, stories of torture, and all kinds of things. You shudder at the kind of experience that these children will be going through with their teachers. These are little children. A lot of times, many adults don't even survive this kind of horrifying experience and condition. But these are children, so it's going to be more difficult for them. I don't even seem to be able to logically explain or reason the fact that we have a government and these things are happening. I don't seem to be able to explain it to myself. So I don't even know how to explain it to others. That we have a government whose primary responsibility as spelled out in the Constitution is the security of its citizens and welfare, who has seemingly abdicated that position, who gallivants about party screening, party rallies, and all those things, and just moves on as if nothing happened. I've issued usual press releases, press statements, presidential spokespersons coming out to defend and give reasons. The Senate president shamelessly saying that it's politicians that are causing the insecurity. And I keep reminding the Senate president that we had there was insecurity last year. There was no election last year. There was no election in 2024. There was no election in 2018. There was no election in 2017. All those things were happening. And then he comes with a straight face, tell Nigerians that it is because of those politicians who want to make sure they don't come back to power. That is how low we have sunk. So that means that these things can be just, briefly explained away without any sort of seriousness. So if the number 3 man on the country can give that kind of explanation, then little wonder why nothing is being done actually, that these children have spent 30 days. Remember, there are some people who have spent 1 year. There are people who have spent 3 years, 4 years. The Dapchi girls, the Chibok girls are there. The children from other places that were abducted, people that were abducted, the quiet ones that we don't even know about. So people have, been killed, massacred, and all we get is press releases. So what it goes to show is that there is a problem that we have come to accept this abnormality, and that we now see it as a way of life. So the average Nigerian just lives his life that, oh, God protect me. If I go back and come home, fine. If I don't come back, fine. Because that is where we have found ourselves. But more importantly for me too, is the fact that the outrage is low. In fact, there is none. Nigerian citizens seem to now accept their fate and say, oh, this is how we are now living. We are now living like animals in the jungle. I mean, when you show in documentary films, you show about the jungle where a pack of animals will be going and they're attacked by hyenas or attacked by lions or tigers, and they may not come back to their homes. So that is how we live now, existential livelihood, where the sacredness of life is not respected. And it's unfortunate that even as citizens, we seem docile about it and are not taking the government to task.
Is that okay? Let's go to Vanguard. You think this is lamentation? Let's bring in another one that may even be worse. Vanguard is leading with Japa. Only 55,000 doctors left to treat 220 million Nigerians. 16,000 doctors emigrated in 5 years. Nigeria's mental health crisis worsening. That's according to ARD, FNPH in Yaba. 85% of Nigerians with mental disorders lack treatment access. So if you go to the story itself, they had a meeting, the Ordinary General Meeting and Scientific Conference of the Association of Resident Doctors, ARD, Federal Psychiatric Hospital in Yaba. The theme for that particular meeting was few doctors, too many patients, the consequence of manpower shortage on mental well-being of Nigerians. We should be alarmed, shouldn't we?
We are already alarmed because the consequences are already showing. The remaining doctors that are here are dropping dead. If you take the statistics of doctors that have died in the last 3 years, it is alarming. Especially in teaching hospitals, you see doctors dropping dead because of exhaustion, because of overwork, because there are few doctors. They run shifts round. They are still on call, placed on call. I have a doctor friends, and each time you see them, most of them are looking harangued. Most of them are looking, not taken care of. Most of them are looking exhausted, and some of them are dropping dead. So it's already telling on us. And why is this, Jakba? Because our healthcare professionals, just like many other professionals, are not taken care of. They are not being commensurately paid well. It is happening almost in every profession that that allows them to. For example, even in academia, you see our best brains are being poached by universities in other countries, in other continents. They are living in droves too. The most scary part of it is that if you go to a nursing school or a nursing college or the department of nursing in a university, talk to the young lads who are students of that department or college. The next thing they will tell you is that they want to get their nursing license, do the mandatory practice of 1 year, whatever, write the exams that they write for practicing in America or the United Kingdom, Europe, Canada, and then they want to get out of this country. And you see a lot of parents and guardians investing so much in these medical courses like nursing and medicine to ensure that they want to send their children with the sole aim of maybe sending their children overseas to make money for the family. I don't blame them because these are lucrative courses, professionals outside. So why can't we make it viable here? Look at the budget for there was a time the budgeted for Asorok Clinic that the president's wife, I think Aisha Buhari, went there. I didn't even say Panadol or paracetamol to even treat anybody. What is our defense budget? What is our healthcare budget? What is our education budget for the teaching hospitals and the rest? We find out that they have made, in fact, so many hospitals don't even have teaching hospitals, don't even have office accommodation for doctors. Doctors roam around in many teaching hospitals, they don't have offices. A lot of things that our doctors are not even given the enabling environments to work. They don't have the tools, they don't have the internet. I remember one medical foundation that just came from America, which I worked with. They went to University of Nigeria Teaching Hospital to even start to install satellites for them to be able to do proper work in terms of documentation. Many hospitals don't even have it. So these are things that befuddles me. The state governors sit down, a lot of them, Look at what Ebonyi State Governor did, I think last year or 2 years ago, where he was able to give doctors houses and were able to give them cars and increase their salary so that they can have a cushioning effect, so that the eye will not be in the Japa area. Many governors don't even care. For example, in Enugu here, I know that they are teaching hospital, state teaching hospital. They're also building offices, a lot of offices for doctors to even have a place to stay at nursing stations.
All right.
So these things are absent in many of the teaching hospitals. They don't even have the environment to work, to have the right frame of mind to do diagnosis and prescriptions. It's unfortunate. And that in a country where in the 1968-69, the Saudi royal family was coming to this country to take medical treatment, and the reverse is now because we are now doing medical tourism in what is it called, in Dubai, in South Africa, in India, and the rest. Again, let me put this point before I drop this matter. A lot of people just build infrastructure that don't take care of the doctor. It's not about building hospitals. It's also about building the personnel that will work in those hospitals.
Dr. Bouquet, I mean, this analysis is really compelling, and I totally agree with you because I've had to also experience firsthand, you know, Nigeria's healthcare system. I'm not sure exactly if it's deliberate, if it's intentional to make the government facilities appear in some kind of way so that the private hospitals can perform better. For instance, in fact, there's a phrase in my head, "May Nigeria not happen to you." Look, 2 days ago, I had some sort of an emergency of someone really close, and we rushed a newborn who was only about 5 hours into this earth to a government hospital. And by the time we got there, somewhere around 3 a.m., I tell you what, it's a specialist hospital for children owned by the government in Victoria Island. It's a popular place. If I mention it, people would know. But by the time we got there, you know what? There were people just lying down on the floor. People were sleeping. And I was like, wow. That's when that phrase, "When Nigeria not happen to you," just rang in my head. And sadly, so that baby died yesterday. So it's really devastating, because there are people who have had to go to hospitals, and there was once industrial action or the other, and they couldn't attend to them, and they passed. That's why I understand in LASU, for instance, the ARD LASU, they have been on strike for a 3-day warning strike, and they are threatening to shut down activities after this 3-day warning strike if nothing is done. So it's really alarming. We should be concerned. If we have just 55,000 doctors to attend to 200 million Nigerians. For the elites, they know how to take care of themselves. The concern here is the average Nigerian man who perhaps his monthly earnings cannot cater for his medical bills and that of his family and all of that. But let's take a look at this Nigeria, which gets our attention next. It leads with one of the biggest stories yesterday: bribery, no oil stains on Diziani. UK court rules. No oil stains on Diziani. UK court rules. Ex-petroleum minister acquitted on 6 counts. 11 years of international probe and trial. Finally, she gets her verdict, and it's victory for Diziani, Alison Madueke, and her team of lawyers. I wonder how you're receiving this news in southeast Nigeria.
Well, I think the accusation is not for southeast Nigeria, it's for the country. But immediately I got the news, one of the things that immediately came to my mind is the danger of media trial. The danger of not hearing from the accused. The danger of public pronouncement of guilt before the court actually does that. So one begins to wonder how even the Nigerian, EFCC and some other, the corruption agencies, anti-corruption agencies. I will remember how they seized some of our, things that she owns. Like I think seized her bra. They say it's the golden one. I mean, it's full of diamond. That they seized a lot of other things, and that they were all stolen and the rest. She has not been tried. I don't think she has been tried in a Nigerian court. I don't know whether she has been convicted in a Nigerian court. But even while the international what was going on. We're already calling her a thief. The people were already calling her, people are already giving their own verdict. And let us remember that the UK courts are very, very thorough in whatever they do. And that is why it took this time. But again, they are saying that they didn't see anything. So the question is, for the Nigerian people accusing her, what are they covering up something? Is it something bigger than her? Is it something that she obeyed instructions that is not linked to her directly? So now that the UK courts have finished their work, it's time for Nigerian courts to do their own, and then let us come out clean. But for me, the greatest perspective I look on this is the danger of public trial.
Okay, I was just going to maybe just stay with this Nigeria for a moment. So just to the top right of this Nigeria, Dr. Boke, maybe very briefly, we see another story there that is really concerning very many Nigerians as well. Children accounts for 75% of Africa's modern slavery victims. That's coming from NAPTIG. Children accounts for 75% of Africa's modern slavery victims. Dr. Boke, how worrying is this?
It is as worrying as you can see, or even deeper. It's a deeper evil that you can see. A few days ago, there was a video circulating on the internet about a child of 5 years whose guardian was, maltreated. He had scabs all over his body, sores all over his body from his head to his toes. Covered with sores by beating. And we heard that the woman melted nylon waterproof and then used the hot iron to pour on the child's body, and he gave all the sore and the rest. So we have so many deranged individuals, people who are psychopathic patients, whose only way to exercise their madness is against vulnerable people. And when we say children, we're looking at people from 17 years old down. Those are children. And in our African culture has enabled it, because we take our children to relatives to stay with. We distribute our children. Again, population control, no birth control in many places. Some families will give birth to more than we can take care of. They say, as far as God brings children, now God will train them. Those kind of street language. And then people just give birth that cannot take care. So they look for ways to distribute their children. And even when children complain, they tell them to stay there, because the parents don't have the alternative because of poverty and so many other things. So it comes about hawking. This includes even hawking. This includes using children as house helps. This comes as including children as a nanny, using children in a farm, using children for sex slaves. If you go to a lot of African countries, you will see a lot of children under age, 14, 15 years, teenagers, doing prostitution and all the other kind of things. So this is very deep, and we see it every day. But the biggest problem, even my worry, is that we don't even say anything. You see a lot of children being maltreated, being visited with evil, and the neighbors around just pretend as nothing happens. And so we should try to educate, create awareness that if you see something, you begin to say something, and that the state governments, local governments, should become more practical or pragmatic in dealing with these issues, because a lot of them just have ministries of gender, child, ministry of this, they do budget, there's nothing happening there. I think it is time also to go down and make sure that perpetrators are brought to book, and then they should create a system where victims of this kind of thing are rehabilitated without the help, because there's no point intervening and then you leave the child and it goes back to the same problem, because it's poor and these people cannot do it. So they just roll around the child and the issues continue. So it is sad development for us. Children should be nurtured. Children should be trained. Children should have the best of life so that they can become better citizens. Because when they treat them bad like this and they become slaves like this, they become traumatized adults. Right. And this is hardship on the country. And maybe that is part of the thing we're experiencing today with what is happening at some levels of the country, where sometimes you start asking yourself, is this guy for real?
Yeah,
the way he behaves or she behaves.
Yeah, we just have about a minute. If you can do this for the Guardian newspaper, always doing a great work in their front page. 2027 polls, that's the Guardian newspaper. Conflicting court orders, weak oversight raises credibility doubts. So you can see poor oversight, big man politics, heavy war chest politics, internal democracy, conflicting judicial pronouncement. We saw the one by the recent one that is seen as an embarrassment to the judiciary recently, the owner of Justice Lifo, who went against the order of the higher court. There are so many things we can look at. So quickly, if you can speak to this in just about a minute.
Well, I think just straightforward to the point, every judicial officer should be punished swiftly, immediately. And with that, so like National Judicial Council should, for example, the justice that went contrary, gave contrary pronouncement to a higher court, to that of a higher court, should be sanctioned immediately. Because if these sanctions don't take place immediately, other people will be emboldened to copy what the justice did. So if a justice can be that, bring himself that low, then he should be removed immediately. And with this, I think they can start as a deterrent. But if there's no deterrent, more justices will continue to commit atrocities, especially in the face of the elections are coming very close. A lot of politicians are desperate, and therefore we should minimize this kind of issues by making sure that those who commit this kind of atrocities in the judiciary are immediately suffer the consequences.
Well, it's a fine place to anchor our conversation with you this morning. Dr. Angus Igboke is the chairman, Guild of Public Affairs Analyst, Enugu State Chapter. Thank you indeed for your time on the program.
Thank you for having me this morning.
Well, this is the morning brief. Let's get talking this morning. So much to unpack for you. This morning we get to head to Ekiti State as we talk about the elections there, the governorship elections there. 11 candidates. I'm not sure if a lot of residents in that state are aware that we even have other candidates participating in these elections this weekend. Plus, on the program, we get to talk the attacks in South Africa. Precisely the xenophobic attacks. We get some perspectives from SA, and then we get to discuss as well the digital switch over. For years and years now, it's been in the pipeline. What's exactly is the update? We'll tell you all of these and more this morning on the program. Stay with us here. We're back in just a moment.